You know those cases where no matter how many times you hear them, no matter how familiar the names become, your stomach still drops like you're hearing it for the first time, like something inside you knows this story is wrong in a way that never really settles, and this, a story that feels like a nightmare right from the beginning, and somehow just keeps getting darker the more you sit with it. It's November 13th, 2001, in Grand Junction, Colorado, a quiet town where nothing is supposed to happen, where families go about their lives thinking home is the safest place there is. And that afternoon, Michael Blagg comes home from work expecting a normal night. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic, just another day ending. And instead he claims he walks into something horrifying, something that instantly changes everything. Because the bedroom is soaked in blood, not splattered, not chaotic, not the kind of mess you expect from a sudden violent struggle, but soaked, saturated, heavy. The kind of blood loss that makes your mind immediately jump to the worst possible outcome. And Jennifer, his wife, is gone. Their 6-year-old daughter Abby is gone, and almost immediately Michael tells police the same story any of us would want to believe if we were standing there staring at that room, that someone broke in, that someone abducted them. And at first, police treated exactly the way you'd expect, as a home invasion kidnapping. Because honestly, how could they not? The amount of blood alone suggests Jennifer couldn't have survived. It feels random and terrifying and senseless, but almost right away something about it feels off. Something that doesn't sit right, because when investigators really look at that bedroom, they realize there are no drag marks, no trail leading outside, no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no kicked-in doors, just blood. An unsettling amount of blood. Almost too much blood. And later experts would say it looks less like a desperate struggle and more like a scene made to look violent, staged, deliberate, like someone wanted investigators to see blood and panic instead of looking closer. And then there's Michael himself, who stands out, not because of what he does, but because of what he doesn't do. He's calm, almost detached, not frantic, not hysterical, not behaving the way most husbands and fathers would if their entire family had just vanished. And that alone doesn't make someone guilty. But in true crime, you know it's never just one thing. It's always the small details piling up. Because as police dig deeper, cracks start to show. Michael tells investigators he last saw Jennifer and Abby that morning before leaving for work, but neighbors report strange sounds from the house later that day, and then police find something that changes the entire direction of the case. Blood. Not just in the bedroom, but inside the family van. And that's the moment everything shifts. Because if a stranger abducted Jennifer and Abby from inside the house, if this was truly a random break-in, then why is there blood in the vehicle? Why does the story suddenly require more and more explanations that never quite make sense? And Michael doesn't have a real answer, just vague responses that don't line up. While the search for Jennifer and Abby explodes across the community, volunteers, law enforcement, media everywhere, flyers taped to poles, people scanning fields and roadsides because everyone wants Abby found alive. She's 6 years old. She's a child. Days pass, then weeks, and nothing happens. No Abby, no Jennifer, no sightings, no ransom. Just silence. Until investigators learn something chilling. That Michael worked at a local garbage disposal site, and on the very day Jennifer and Abby vanished, he was seen dumping trash along a specific route, a route that led straight to the Mesa County landfill. And when police realized that, the weight of it hits, because if Jennifer's body was thrown away there, it would be buried under thousands of tons of garbage, almost impossible to find. But still they search, for months, digging through filth and waste in brutal conditions, holding on to the possibility that she's there.
Here's where they search today. The investigators are standing on a mountain of trash. Their search area is 16 feet below where they're standing. The landfill is unstable. The ground trembles as the excavator moves. That's why a machine pulls potential evidence and the trash to their level, as opposed to them going into the excavated pit. They then go through it, sometimes by hand.
We can report to you tonight that those remains have been positively identified as that of Jennifer Blagg. This identification was made by a local forensic odontologist.
In June 2002, the unimaginable happens. when Jennifer Blagg's body is finally found, wrapped in a tent, crushed beneath trash, discarded like she never mattered, and the autopsy confirms what everyone feared. Jennifer didn't die from blood loss alone. She was shot while sleeping in bed, murdered, and suddenly there's no room left for the idea of a random home invasion, because this wasn't chaos. This was personal, and Abby is still nowhere. To this day, her body has never been found, and this is where the case stops being just tragic and becomes haunting, because Abby was 6 years old. 6. A little girl who vanished without leaving behind a single confirmed trace. No remains,
and how was Michael Blagg
no
involved
evidence,
in all this?
no answers,
Watch
only
this story
theories that loop endlessly. Did Michael kill her too? Did he hide her body somewhere else? Was she alive when Jennifer died? Questions that still keep investigators and everyone who knows this case awake at night. And eventually Michael Blagg is arrested and charged with first-degree murder, and the trial is intense. The prosecution paints a picture of a man who wanted control, whose marriage was failing, who saw his family as something he could simply erase, while the defense argues there's no direct evidence, no eyewitness, no confession, but the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. The staged crime scene, the blood in the van, the landfill, the lies. And in 2004, Michael Blagg is convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole. And for a moment, it feels like justice, like something has finally been set right. But this case is far from over, because in 2014, everything falls apart when Michael's conviction is overturned. Not because he's proven innocent, not because new evidence comes forward, but because of a technicality. A juror failed to disclose personal experience with domestic violence during jury selection, and that's it. After all those years, after Jennifer's body was found in the trash, after Abby vanished forever, the conviction is thrown out. People are furious. Jennifer's family is devastated all over again, and Michael Blagg walks back into the courtroom facing a new trial. And in 2018, the retrial happens with the same evidence and the same horrifying story. But this time, the prosecution is sharper, more precise. They show how the blood patterns didn't match an abduction, how the timing doesn't work, how Michael's statements keep changing, and the jury sees it. Michael Blagg is convicted again, life in prison without parole. Appeals denied. This time the conviction sticks and he will die behind bars. But here's the part that still hurts, the part that never feels finished. Jennifer got justice. Abby didn't. There's no grave, no closure, no answers. Just age-progressed photos showing what she might look like today, a child frozen in time. And what makes this case so disturbing isn't just the violence, it's the betrayal. Jennifer trusted the person who was supposed to protect her. Abby trusted her father. And instead of safety, they were met with horror. Jennifer was killed, wrapped up, and thrown away like trash. Abby was erased. And the silence surrounding her disappearance is louder than any scream, because even now investigators believe Abby is dead, but officially she's still missing. Which means there's always that tiny, unbearable sliver of hope. And hope in cases like this can be torture, because every time you think about it, you picture that house. The quiet, the staged blood, the lie that something random happened there, and you realize the truth is far scarier than a stranger breaking in. The truth is that sometimes the monster is already inside the home. And if you ever wonder why people are obsessed with true crime, why we can't stop talking about stories like this, it's because we're trying to understand how something like this can happen, how love turns into violence, how a child can disappear without a trace, how justice can feel both complete and unfinished at the same time. Because Jennifer Blagg's story has an ending, Abby Blagg's doesn't. And until it does, this case will never truly be over.